Good afternoon. Should I begin?
Before you begin, I think you are standing on three platforms. I'd suggest to you to other two platforms. I think the teacher and the other two players mute the microphones on those platforms because there's an echo that makes it difficult to hear. Speak again.
Good afternoon.
Excellent. You may proceed.
When social media influencers prioritize sensationalism and
Hold on.
controversy,
My lovely people, my prime ministers and opposition leaders, give me a second. Let me open your competition. All right. Thank you, guys. We are now at match 6. And this afternoon we have Aabuthnott, Gallimore, and Calabar boys. The motion. This house believes that proliferation of social media users and influencers are causing more harm than good to brand Jamaica. Proposing the motion is Aabuthnott, Gallimore, and opposing the motion is Calabar boys. The first speaker is allowed 7 minutes, second speaker 5 minutes, and the third speaker 3 minutes, followed by rebuttals. And this will begin with our opposing team. We will now spotlight Aabuthnott, Gallimore and invite their first speaker, Tennille Bernard, who is first speaker, Alicia Reid, who is in the position of the Prime Minister, to begin the match.
all right, so may I begin?
Yes, you may.
All right. When social media influencers prioritize sensationalism and when social media influencers prioritize sensationalism and controversy over accuracy to gain more likes, views, and followers, they jeopardize the authenticity of this cultural representation. This can lead to a misconstrued image of the country. Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen, honorable judges, and worthy opponents. Today we are here to discuss the mood that proliferation of social media users and influencers are causing more harm than good to brand Jamaica. Before completely delving into why we stand by this mood, we must come to an understanding of what brand Jamaica truly means. As a nation, Madam Speaker, brand Jamaica has a renowned reputation for its unique culture, vibrant music, captivating landscape and scenery, warm people, engaging attractions, and most deservedly, when I say most deservedly, it is deservedly, it's savoring food. All of these are a part of brand Jamaica. The term proliferation refers to rapid, widespread, and increase of something. Well, Madam Speaker, in this case, it highlights the explosive growth of social media users and influencers who now dominate the digital space. Honorable judges, according to Encyclopedia Britannica, the term social media means online platforms, tools, and services that allow users to create, share, and interact with content, information, and other users in a virtual environment. Well, Madam Speaker, with that information, one would think all is well in the virtual space that has been created. Consider the intent was to form connections. However, social media platforms have been exploited for malicious purposes, contributing to alarming issues such as decreased academic issues and mental illnesses such as anxiety and depression, bullying in schools, distribution of misinformation, and also leading to crime and violence. Madam Speaker, the great Benjamin Graham once said that unusual rapid growth cannot keep up forever. Social media platforms such as TikTok, Instagram, and Facebook are widely known for their interactivity of sharing of content that people tend to largely be interested in. These platforms have a collective usership of over 7 billion. 7 billion, that's a lot of people using social media. It is safe then to say, it is safe then to say, it is safe then to say most of, if not entire world, Madam Speaker, uses social media. Based on the exponential growth of these platforms as well, it can be said that some people have multiple accounts which they use. Madam Speaker, does that make sense to you? This is only possible because there is not a lot of restriction put on who can access these platforms. On the contrary, just about anyone can create an account or account without consequences. Like, are these people thinking? The problem, however, is there are sorry, Madam Speaker. The problem, however, is that these are not being used responsibly. Yes. To create an account, whether for personal or to create a brand or professional training, and just post anything. Therefore, some of the posts are from the lack of sensitivity. Sorry, Madam Speaker. There is no content to her. Like, don't they have any feelings for the person seeing this? Shared through social media. Intentional means that anyone, the content of this individuals platforms require no qualification.
Madam First Speaker, I think your mic is gone. You are now frozen. I see teacher is looking better than you, meaning her bandwidth may be up. Can you open your mic so I can hear her so I don't disturb her again?
My meeting was being disconnected a while ago.
The last thing I heard. Okay.
Sorry, my speech was disconnected. All right, so Madam Speaker, our next speaker will speak on the distribution of misinformation which tarnished the brand of this beautiful country.
Here it goes. Sorry.
Here it goes. Sorry.
And after information is shared, there are and I continue. All right, sorry. And after information is shared, there are also matters of safety and security, which will be discussed by our third speaker. Madam Speaker, we're still here. Let us look at our children. Children are our future. Let me emphasize on that, Madam Speaker. It is important to any country that they have the best education, as they will become the future leaders of tomorrow. However, with scrumptious and delicious, absolutely captivating content that can be found on TikTok and Instagram, and the self-absorbing beauty that can be seen on Snapchat, isn't it given that our children are spending too much time on their socials than they are spent studying? As a form of dramatic irony, Madam Speaker, students in Jamaica know more about Swiss Beat and Rebel than the Honorable Juliet Holness. Can you imagine that? They also know all the famous TikTok dances that have been put together for challenges, more than the answers to any school challenge quiz responses. How has this contributed to the problem, may I ask my opponents? Well, in 2024, Jamaica recorded only a 38.9 pass rate in CSEC exams. Let me repeat that for you if you did not hear. In 2024, Jamaica recorded only a 38.9 pass rate in CSEC exams. That is less than 50%, Madam Speaker, of the student population that took the exams in Jamaica. This is from the same Jamaica with doctors that are internationally recognized and teachers that other countries crave. Can you imagine that, Madam Speaker? Other people want these teachers and the students are not paying attention. Like, when they're gone, what are they going to do? All right. What then is the problem, you may ask? The problem is the distraction of social media is leading our students away from education as they seek entertainment, thus linked to a low literacy rate of this brilliant country. Madam Speaker, the facts are clear. I now leave it to your judgment. I thank you.
Thank you so much. We will now move over to Calabar Boys. Shari, can you spotlight Calabar Boys? And we invite their first speaker, Camille Bernard. Calabar, you may go ahead, Calabar.
Social media this, social media that. Users and influencers getting attacked. Madam Speaker, honorable judges, members of the audience, and fellow debaters, a pleasant afternoon. I stand before you today to argue against the motion that the proliferation of social media users and influencers are causing more harm than good to brand Jamaica. The second speaker of the opposition team will highlight 3 key points as to how social media users and influencers are positively contributing to the development of our country. Points stemming from how they amplify Jamaica's unique identity, how they support the local businesses in our country, and also how influencers empower youths by showcasing their talents. Furthermore, the third speaker of the opposition team will reiterate on these points by providing factual information as to how our economy benefits from social media users and influencers. According to Britannica.com, the word proliferation means a rapid growth or increase in numbers, while the term social media users or social media influencers refers to persons who have been actively built large followings on platforms like Instagram, platforms like TikTok, platforms like even Twitter. And these persons can impact opinions of others or the behavior of certain audiences. Madam Speaker, without further ado, let's get into the meat of the matter of my first point as to how social media influencers and users counteract the negative perception of our island. In a world full of negativity, critics argue that social media amplifies negativity, but let us not overlook how it also empowers Jamaicans to counteract stereotypes and misrepresentations. Influencers often correct misconceptions, highlighting the island's achievements while providing a more accurate view of Jamaica beyond the cliches of beaches and resorts. Observer Online's Top 10 Social Media Personalities is the title of an article on Jamaica Observer that depicts some of Jamaica's most influential social media users and influencers. This article was written on December 30th in 2022. This article mentioned that, and I quote, coming out of a pandemic, the year 2022 was filled with hope and untapped potential for many of us. This could also be said for some of Jamaica's social media personalities and content creators who gave us something positive and hilarious to focus on during difficult times. Juliet Bodley, otherwise known as Julie Mango, gained social media fame during the COVID-19 pandemic on the video-centric streaming platform of TikTok, where she performed hilarious skits depicting a Jamaican's typical response in various scenarios. Radam, yes, you heard right. Radam, Mr. Osborne Ellis, otherwise known as Peanut Dread, a popular Jamaican social media influencer who captures the ears of his listeners whenever he shares a story. Mr. Ellis has touched many Jamaicans, include our very own Prime Minister, Dr. the Honorable Andrew Holness, who used the popular term Radam as a warning during a public address. Madam Speaker, the rise of social media influencers like Juliet Bodley, aka or otherwise known as Julie Mango, and Mr. Osborne Ellis, also known as Peanut Dread, has helped counteract negative perceptions of Jamaica by showcasing the country's vibrant culture, humor, and creativity. Through their entertaining skits and storytelling, they've provided a more nuanced and positive representation of Jamaica, highlighting the country's unique spirit and resilience. This has shifted the narrative away from negative stereotypes and towards a more authentic and celebratory portrayal of Jamaican life. I bring your attention to an article published in Jamaica Observer on May 6th in the year 2023. And this article stated that, and also again, I quote, in recent years, social media has emerged as a powerful tool for democratizing the sharing of information. From breaking news to important announcements, social media platforms have transformed the way we consume and share information. With that being said, it simply means social media platforms provide an equal opportunity for users to share their opinions, experiences, expertise, democratizing the flow of information. Madam Speaker, this ultimately suggests that social media users and influencers have the ability to create a more informed, engaged, and connected global community. Additionally, social media has also become a tool for activism, giving people a voice, with Jamaicans advocating for social change and justice, further strengthening the nation's global image as a place of resilience and progress. The social media-driven activism and influencer engagement in Jamaica has had a positive impact on our country's image throughout the Caribbean and even internationally. And I must say, image is everything. We, the opposition, believe that by promoting social justice and challenging negative perceptions, social media users and influencers have enhanced Jamaica's global reputation, showcasing a nation that has values, that has progressed, it has equality, and showcasing human rights. Ultimately, this contributes to a more positive, to a more inclusive, and a more resilient nation, with a stronger global presence and increased opportunities for economic growth and development. The time has come for us all to recognize that social networks can be used for good and not only as forms of entertainment. Social media has empowered Jamaicans to counteract negative stereotypes and showcase the country's vibrant culture, humor, and creativity. Influencers like Julie Mango and Peanut Dread as I stated in the above, have provided a more nuanced and positive representation of Jamaica, highlighting its unique spirit and resilience. Social media has impacted us positively, and we, the opposition, know that it has made a positive impact on Jamaica's global reputation, providing a platform for Jamaicans to share their stories, promote social justice, and showcase their culture. Rather than causing harm, social media has become a powerful tool for promoting Jamaica's brand and values. We, the opposition, believe that it is time to take a positive stance in a negative time. The opposition rests. Thank you.
Very, very good arguments, fiery arguments, and I can see that both schools researched well and they came well prepared. I am sorry that the other two judges are not here, but I'm sure when they view the match, they will have said the same thing. We'll move over to Aabuthnott Gallimore now for their second speaker. Carrie, please spotlight Aabuthnott Gallimore. All right, so Aabuthnott, remember the right at the podium. Who is at the podium? Aabuthnott, please go ahead.
And very happy. Today, I want to discuss a critical issue affecting our beloved nation, Jamaica. As we gather here, I would like to acknowledge the significant impact social media users and influencers have on our country's reputation. Unfortunately, I strongly believe that many of these individuals are causing more harm than good to brand Jamaica. Firstly, let us acknowledge the power of Platforms such as Instagram, Twitter, and Facebook have become essential tools for promoting tourism, culture, and our unique Jamaican identity. However, with great power comes great responsibility. Some social media users and influencers have taken it upon themselves to represent Jamaica, often without a genuine understanding of our country. Often without a genuine understanding of our history, culture, and values. They perpetuate stereotypes, sensationalize negativity, and showcase a distorted view of our beautiful island. This misrepresentation not only misinforms the world about Jamaica, but also undermines the efforts of those who genuinely work from our country's positive image. Furthermore, some influencers have used their platforms to spread negativity and controversy, often prioritizing sensationalism over truth and respect. This can have severe consequences, deterring potential visitors and investors from engaging with our country. My fellow opponents, let me emphasize the fact of dissemination of let me emphasize the fact that dissemination of misinformation leads to misrepresentation of brand Jamaica. Influencers using social media to broadcast their content on apps such as Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, YouTube, and the infamous TikTok has led to widespread misinformation across all disciplines, including politics. But for the sake of this engagement, we will zoom in on the parasitical effect on Jamaica's dynamic culture. This includes false information about Jamaica's culture, history, and its people. On December 30th, a day before Vibes started Manny's long-awaited Freedom Street concert, social media influencers and users have started spreading misinformation. The international figures such as Nicki Minaj, Cardi B, were likely to make an appearance when in actuality this information was never true. This causes a conflict of interest of the intended audience who may have wanted to witness an criminal act. For example, were robbed of the person they actually wanted to see. It paints an image that Jamaican influencers are liars and cannot be trusted. How, how can that help Jamaica? The fact that social media is free for all persons across the world does not necessarily mean, as as it would mean, that persons with obvious ill intent toward the country can also tarnish its reputation. An example of this situation, a popular American TikToker known as Miss Little, who came to Jamaica for vacation in the mid 2024. This person decided upon returning to his country to leave reviews that were, while deeply opinionated, also very offensive and disrespectful to Grand Jamaica. At least where the food was concerned, due to their platform being a big one, many persons have come out to agree with that sentiment, which would ultimately lead to Grand Jamaica being disordered. Further to that was the fact that Jamaican users saw the need to now comment on this person's life choices, which also shed a bad light on Jamaica in terms of their behavior. The warmth that Jamaicans are known for is being reflected here, and don't people tend to pay more attention to negative content more than positive ones. Ladies and gentlemen, these instances highlight the fact that the proliferation of social media users and influencers are causing more harm than good for Jamaica. Together, we can ensure that social media becomes a force for good, promoting a positive and accurate image of Brand Jamaica so that people can see it is a good place to live, raise families, and do business. Thank you.
Thank you very much. It takes a lot of courage to public speak. So we will now move over to Calabar, where we'll invite Mr. Palmer to make his
Good afternoon.
presentation. Go ahead, Mr. Palmer.
I apologize for that, madam. Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen, esteemed audience, and my fellow debaters. It is with my utmost privilege to stand firmly against the motion that the proliferation of social media users and influencers is causing more harm than good to Grand Jamaica. Instead, I argue that this growth has been instrumental in amplifying, preserving, and modernizing the global perception of Jamaica's rich cultural identity. And this brings me to my first point, how social media influencers amplify the unique identity of Jamaica. Social media influencers and users have brought Jamaica's culture, music, and traditions to audience worldwide in ways that traditional media never could. Platforms like Instagram, YouTube, and TikTok have made it possible for the beauty of our beaches, the vibrancy of our festivals, and the rhythm of reggae music to reach global millions. For example, influencers like Jamaican Experiences and the Jamaican Vegan showcase the island's cuisine, natural beauty, and lifestyle to millions, encouraging tourism and cultural appreciation. Now, these efforts, Madam Speaker, have bolstered Jamaica's reputation as a top travel destination, significantly contributing to our economy. Which then brings me to my second point, which is how social media influencers support local businesses. Furthermore, Madam Speaker, social media influencers have become critical allies for small businesses and artisans helping them to reach wider audiences. Through collaborations, reviews, and promotions, these influencers highlight Jamaican products from the cool Blue Mountain coffee to locally made crafts. Without influencers, many of these businesses might never gain the exposure needed to thrive in an increasingly competitive global market. Now look at this. Social media has democratized marketing, allowing even the smallest, when I say the smallest, I mean the smallest players to shine on the world stage. Which then brings me to my final point, Madam Speaker, empowering the youth and showcasing talents. In addition, social media has given young Jamaicans a voice and a platform for them to showcase their talents, whether in music, dance, art, or comedy. This has not only created new career opportunities, but has also kept Jamaican creativity and innovation alive for future generations. Now, Madam Speaker, stars like Coffee and Leela Ike have used these said platforms like Instagram and YouTube to connect with audiences, gaining international recognition and promoting brand Jamaica as a hub of talent and creativity. Now, ladies and gentlemen, Jamaica's brand is not being harmed by social media users and influencers. On the contrary, they are the modern ambassadors of our culture, economy, and national identity. They have given Jamaica a louder voice in the global conversation, fostering appreciation, respect, and curiosity for everything our nation represents. So let us not stifle this momentum, but encourage responsible use of these platforms to further strengthen the incredible brand that is Jamaica. I thank you.
Thank you very, very much. And we want to congratulate both coaches, Coach Grant for Calabar Boys and Coach Pottinger for Aabuthnott Gallimore. They did a fantastic job. We will now move over to Aabuthnott Gallimore and welcome their third speaker. Go ahead, Aabuthnott. You may begin.
All protocols observed. Today I stand firm on the belief that profilation of social media users and influencers is causing more harm than good to brand Jamaica. The Prime Minister expounded on social media users and influencers being contributory factor to crime and violence, and I would like to emphasize on such facts. Gangs and criminal organizations use social media platforms like Instagram and TikTok to coordinate illegal activities, which become a breeding site for drug trafficking, gang attacks, and other violent crimes. Now, we have all been told about practicing safety online and precautions that we need to take when using social media, haven't we? My opponents, aren't you aware of an increase in crime and violence amongst social media users and influencers? On December 7, 2024, a social media influencer who goes by the name Naya was shot and killed while on a TikTok live. In less than 2 weeks after the incident, another famous TikToker, commonly known as 41%, was killed a day before his birthday. Imagine being killed the day before your birthday. Their location was exposed, which allowed for their attackers
to come and take their lives. Another incident occurred where a high achieving university student was gunned down during a live in September 2024. Now, my fellow opponents, with your knowledge about these instances of murder that happen live on the internet, don't you believe we are highlighting the negative side of Jamaica? Also, note that these influencers who were murdered on live were murdered by Jamaicans. In an article published by the Jamaica Observer, it stated that as of November 2024, Jamaica reported 1,039 homicides, with an estimated population of approximately 2.8 million, which equates to a murder rate of 37.1 per 100. My opponent, please do the math. We all know that Jamaica is stigmatized to be one of the countries with the highest murder rate. When these influencers are killed, we only fuel the thought of these negative concealed notions. My opponents kindly note that criminal activities that are aligned with social media actions rank Jamaicans' main economic booster tourism. However, tourism plays a vital role in Jamaica's economy, and so when influencers showcase a narrative steeped in crime and violence, it drives tourists away from the island. While social media is a tool for connectivity and expression, it often becomes a double-edged sword. The crime rate is alarming, and visitors across the globe want to visit the country, but their safety and security are at stake. This is definitely not a good look for Grand Jamaica. My opponent, ask yourself, what kind of role models are we promoting in our social space? Sorry? When Jamaica is seen, are we painted as tough? Is Jamaica seen as beating crime? Or is it being propagated that crime is beating Jamaica? It is imperative that we address these issues to counteract the negative trends. With that said, this post strongly believes that the population of social media users and influencers are causing more harm than good to Grand Jamaica. The government leaves it at risk at this time.
Was Aabuthnott finished? Aabuthnott, are you complete?
Yes, they finished.
Okay,
Yes.
all right. I wasn't sure because it froze on my side. Just a reminder of our motion. This House believes that proliferation of social media users and influencers are causing more harm than good to brand Jamaica. Proposing the motion is Aabuthnott, Gallimore, and opposing the motion is Calabar Boys. We will now move over to Calabar Boys and welcome their third speaker, Rashoy Noose. Go ahead, Rashoy.
Excuse me, at what point did it freeze?
I didn't hear.
The very end, so I got everything.
Okay then.
Right. Ready?
Go ahead.
Good afternoon, Madam Chairperson, honorable judges, and fellow members of proposition and audience. I strongly believe that social media has revolutionized brand Jamaica. Social media and its users have improved our country's image. Platforms such as Twitter, TikTok, and YouTube have allowed Jamaican content creators such as Swiss Lee, Honorable, and many entertainers to spread our rich culture to reach audiences all over the world. Social media has allowed Jamaicans to showcase its offerings such as our stunning beaches, our waterfalls, and most importantly, our people. Not only has social media brought our culture to life, it has also taken tourism to a new horizon. A recent Gleaner article states that approximately 32,000, yes, 32,000 visitors from all corners of the earth between December 22nd and December 30th for Vybz Kartel's Freedom Street concert. Freedom Street was primarily marketed through social media, which helped build its hype and spread across the world. Also, a majority of people became familiar with the artist through his recent social media presence since coming out of prison, and also his music, which is streamed on various social media platforms. Social media and its users, such as Vybz Kartel, have helped build our brand and improve tourism in our country, which has helped improve our culture's notoriety. Yes, I completely understand that there are persons who will tarnish our country's name on social media. However, those users are usually the minority and will or have already been dealt with accordingly through the use of bans and other regulatory measures. It can be stated that social media has improved our country's GDP, through which in turn improves the lives of Jamaicans. When we use social media to promote tourism, it attracts foreign and regional investments, especially if what's attracting is bringing visitors, such as hotels, and recently, as we can see, Vybz Kartel's Freedom Street concert. These investments are used to expand and build hotels, which provides employment for persons in construction and other related fields. Those will have to be manned and maintained, which will also provide jobs for thousands of Jamaicans, such as cleaners, janitors, groundsmen, all, which leads to higher income opportunities, which leads to higher living standard and quality of life for everyone, all because of the use of social media. As the second speaker stated, social media has become a critical key in business as it regards marketing and reaching its target audience, which in turn bolsters performance on regional and international markets, which builds our country's infrastructure and economy and our name. With this, I can say that social media has brought Jamaica forward. Thank you.
Okay, Sheriff.
You will now prepare your rebuttals. So you will now join your other team members at the desk and you will prepare your rebuttals. You'll have about 2 minutes, 2 to 3 minutes, and we'll start with the opposing team, and that will be Calabar boys. All right. So let us get our rebuttals together. Thank you. Another minute, another minute. Teams, get ready. Okay, are our teams ready? Okay, it seems that way. Shari, can you spotlight Calabar? Hi, please. Welcome back. We will now begin with our opposition leaders, Calabar boys. Calabar, you may go ahead with your rebuttal.
Madam Speaker, honorable judges, members of the audience, and fellow debaters, again, a pleasant afternoon. The motion before us today is built on a flawed assumption that the proliferation of social media users and influencers is inherently detrimental to brand Jamaica. However, we firmly believe that this assumption is misguided and that social media has in fact been a game changer for Jamaica's global image. Social media has democratized the way we promote brand Jamaica. No longer are we reliant on traditional media outlets or government agencies to showcase our culture, our music, and our natural beauty. Social media influencers and users have become unofficial ambassadors, sharing their authentic experiences and perspectives with a global audience. Furthermore, of course, there are risks that are associated with social media, including misinformation and cultural misappropriation. However, these risks can be mitigated through education, regulation, and responsible social media practices. Moreover, social media has enabled Jamaica to rebrand itself, moving away from outdated stereotypes and towards a more nuanced and vibrant representation. Influencers and users are showcasing the diversity, creativity, and resilience of the Jamaican people, challenging negative perceptions and attracting new fans and investors. Now, the government spoke about 41 buses being murdered in cold blood, and this was as a result of him being a social media user and or a social media influencer. But the real question that I want to bring to your attention today is that what alternative platforms or strategies does the government team propose to promote brand Jamaica if social media is deemed too harmful? Madam Speaker, the government also stated that social media contributes to the decay of education in Jamaica. And while it is true that social media can be used to spread explicit content and facilitate online harassment, it is oversimplistic to blame social media for moral decay in Jamaica. Social media is simply a reflection of the societal issues that already exist in our country. Rather than blaming social media users and influencers, we should focus on regulating social media platforms and educating our citizens about online safety and digital citizenship. As they also spoke about 41 buses, I reiterate that social media is a reflection of society, not the cause. We, the opposition, argue that social media is simply a reflection of the societal issues that already exist in Jamaica, rather than the cause of those issues. Additionally, we need to address the root causes of moral decay, such as poverty, inequality, and lack of access to education and opportunities. By taking a more nuanced approach, we can promote moral values and create a more just and equitable society for all Jamaicans. We, the opposition, believe that social media can be a tool for economic development. Social media can be a tool for economic development in Jamaica, such as by promoting tourism, supporting local businesses, as was stated, and providing opportunities for entrepreneurship and innovation. So, Madam Speaker, the proliferation of social media users and influencers have been a net positive for Brand Jamaica. It has democratized promotion, enabled rebranding, and facilitated social activism. Rather than viewing social media as a threat and the users and influencers as a threat, we should be embracing it as an opportunity to showcase the best of Jamaica to the world. It is time to showcase the positive sides of Brand Jamaica. For this is the land of my birth. This is the land of your birth. This is the land of our birth. My Jamaica, your Jamaica, our Jamaica, the land of our birth. I thank you.
Thank you so very much. We will now move over to Aabuthnott, Gallimore for their rebuttals.
All right, so good afternoon once again. My opponent, we are not here to argue about the scope about social media users and influencers are absolutely no good for Jamaica. The mood says that proliferation, and if you did not hear it when my first speaker mentioned, let me repeat it for you. It is the rapid increase of social media users and influencers that are causing more harm than good to our brand Jamaica. Well, your first speaker said that, and I quote, image is everything. Well, you mentioned a peanut drill, a person who uses very disrespectful languages. That is that someone you want in our brand? So you say that social media users and influencers are being attacked, but don't they call that attack on yourself? If they were smart enough, they wouldn't. They would still be alive today. My opponent, you mentioned music, but the music that is being used is that the type of music you want to present or brand. Those bad words, I can't even describe those things because they are not something that should be used to describe our brand. Let me inform you if you did not already know. Jamaica beaches, Blue Mountain, coffee, and music was already placed on the map for social media was even invented and before we were even born for information. To add to my point, secondly, undoubtedly social media users and influencers have put Jamaica on an international map, but how are they viewed? Do you look at my opponents? All right. Enough positive or negative, right? As Brand Jamaica, we expect our content to be highly respected and valued. Our music, food, tradition, and our cultural ambassadors are users of Instagram, Facebook, TikTok, and should be, let me repeat that. Facebook and TikTok should showcase our brand. But what have we been showcasing? We are showcasing violence, greed, materialism, and lack of intelligence. For instance, Rosalie, which I know everybody knows, has demonstrated greed and a lack of decorum in several of her lives. In one specific one, she said to a stranger, "Sir, I'm hungry. I don't give you the can't spend any money out." Not to mention World and his opponent who are always in conflicts on life, and the world is watching you. You might be in a different country, but you're Jamaican and you're still presenting our brand. This This TikToker was also shot in November of 2024 due to the TikTok feud, and others were shot and killed while being on their life in December. My opponents, in addition, many images of violent acts have been surfacing the media, people glorifying fights, verbal altercation, and even pictures of dead bodies in the most gruesome manner. Headless bodies are being shared without cost. Like, are you thinking? And you, my opponent, are saying that this does not affect program. Like, are you thinking also? My opponent, do you realize our plan? Sorry, my opponent, do you realize that our plan is being misrepresented and also being tarnished? Now, if you were a tourist, would you visit Jamaica after seeing all the negativity that have been highlighted? Well, I guess not. Well, my opponent, sorry. Who has copied her? Question to you, my opponent. Who has copyrighted back to Jamaica like it existed before social media was even existed and before you, the first speaker, were even born? To add, you said that Jamaica is the land of wood and water, but look at it. Jamaica was even sorry, but to add that to video. Sorry, let me calm myself. I'm not letting you all right. So you said that Jamaica is the lack of wood and water, but it will be the cause of our death if we do not realize that these influencers are causing bad to our brand. So you may say, no, my opponent, would you still say that social media influencers and users don't cause more harm than good to brand Jamaica? Right? With that said, this house strongly believes that confirmation of social media users and influencers are causing more harm than good to brand Jamaica. With all that is said, this government race, and with this quote, I will say to you, live killing, spreading of live killing, spreading of misinformation. Let us stick here, my opponent. You that will not tell our dad. I think.
Thank you very much. We have heard rebuttals from both schools, and as we would have explained to you in the beginning, that we will have the other two judges observe the match and we will come back with the winning scores. This afternoon, we had the pleasure of Aabuthnott Gallimore and the Calabar boys, and Aabuthnott was proposing the motion and Calabar boys was opposing the motion, proposing the motion and opposing the motion. So we will now move over to Judge Malik Kelly for his remarks, and then we will come back with the scores at a later date. Judge Kelly, Shari, can you please spotlight Malik Kelly?
Good afternoon, teams. Very, very interesting match and lots of food for thought for us as a judging panel. I'll start first with Aabuthnott Gallimore and then move to Calabar. So for Aabuthnott Gallimore, I have for your first speaker, love the passion, love the energy. You define some of the key terms in your motion. You try to contextualize the moot by explaining the misconstrued image of Jamaica that exists. And you also establish the context that the other speakers from your team or house would build on. So I think that was commendable. I think, however, as a point of improvement, you spent a lot of time on the ills of social media and you spread the motion a bit in terms of giving examples of how students and just general social media users have contributed to those ills, in contrast to trying to balance the motion by looking at both social media users and influencers. So in your first speech, and I know you're also challenged by your internet bandwidth, so maybe I didn't hear it, but what I observed for sure is because you spend so much time generally discussing the ills and social media users and using students as the example, you didn't balance the motion, which required a look at both general users as well as influencers. But overall, very good passion, very good context. So work on that aspect of things. Moving to your second speaker, he discussed the significant impact that it has on the reputation, which I thought was a solid point, and pivoted by stating that through collaboration, we can fix some of the ills to reputation that may have been caused by social media. And for the third speaker, he mentioned that influencers play a very vital role to showcase, and then he went into the example about crime that can drive tourists away. And at the end, I think he was trying to get out the fact that there should be a call or an action call for that to help remedy that specific issue. So I thought that was a good way to pivot your motion by speaking about how the role of the influencer comes in as well in the example that you'd have given about crime and violence. For Calabar High School, the opposition leader or first speaker set a context, I thought, which was very solid as well, and spoke about the fact that there are many positives to social media, and spoke about and used examples of social media influencers, specifically Julie Mango, to explain his point about the promotion of advocacy and social justice. So through the examples, we were able to see, or I was able to see rather, how the positive impact can assist in a great global reputation. And the fact as well that this positive impact allows for a positive outlook on our culture for others. With regard to the second speaker, he built upon the foundation of the first speaker and spoke about, the aspects of social media that allows for the amplification or amplifying our global perception, and attempted to give some facts. I thought you could have provided even more facts to show how it is, whether you go to the social media analytics, to show how it is through the examples of the influencers or just the average Jamaican using digital penetration and the analytics of that, how Jamaica's ratings could have been enhanced or amplified in that way. So that is something I think you could have added as well. And for the third speaker, he also built upon the foundation of the first and second speakers, looking at the way in which social media, Jamaican social media influencers have revolutionized the image of Jamaica and brought to home the most recent Freedom Street concert. But balance that out by looking at the fact that when there are bans and regulatory measures that can also be put in place to curb or manage the negative influences of social media, it has to be a very balanced approach to dealing with that, because you don't want to also lose the positive impact that social media has on our image and culture. Going to the example again about the fact that it provides jobs as well. But I think as well, you kind of ended a slight bit abruptly, and I was expecting some more in how you would have extended your submission by wrapping up the point about the revolution that is caused by the influencers, and more on the point as well about the balance that comes about or is expected when you look at the regulatory measures and the bans. Interestingly, I realized, and I don't think this was a ban, but I think I heard very clearly, neither team utilized points of information. Please remember, in this style of debate, you have points of information for a reason. And the benefit of that is for the panel to see how you're able to think on your feet, how knowledgeable and researched you are in your motion, so that you can challenge within the moment a point the opposing side has mentioned and rebut it at that time. So that is something that both teams, I would remind you, that you have the opportunity outside of the first 2 minutes in the case of the first speaker to utilize your points of information, and neither team utilized those. And in wrapping up with regards to the rebuttals, both teams, I think, did a very nail-biting rebuttal. Calabar rebuttal reaffirmed their posture and their stance and informed us of the fact that they want the use of education as part of the nuanced approach to how they would deal with the challenge caused by digital penetration of general social media users and influencers on our nation's culture and image to the world. For Aabuthnott Gallimore, I thought you did an excellent job now in trying some of the things that you should have done in the points of information you mentioned now in your rebuttal, which was good, but you should have utilized that extempore experience, meaning thinking on your speech experience, of challenging the points there as well. So though now in your rebuttal, you came back very strong, Madam First Speaker, you looked at some of the examples Calabar had and tried to poke holes at the weaknesses, which was good. And you also went about making the point of distinguishing these so-called social media influencers that are seen, according to House opposition, in such a positive light, you were able to poke holes and show that their role was not so positive in some instances. So I wanted you to actually steer the ship more further into safe harbor now by saying, yes, that is the position, but this is the position that we want you to end with, to end on a high note. So I thought for sure Aabuthnott Gallimore, that was an excellent job of attacking the points made by host proposition, but you could have extended further by ensuring that you reaffirm your posture, your host's posture at the end of the debate. So both very commendable efforts by both teams at the end of the match. And I think you both, any team at this point, I think would be very much positive for the quarterfinal rounds. And so when I confer with my other judges, you will hear our results thereafter. But very good match for both teams.
Thank you so very much. Well said, Attorney at Law Malik Kalia and our judge this afternoon. We can't wait to see the scores from our other judges. And when we come back in a few days, we will let you know who the winning team is. I want to congratulate Coach Pottinger, who it's the first time she's entering our competition. I think she did very well. And I also want to congratulate Coach Grant Calabar boys. They entered the National Tourism Debate years ago, and it's good to have them back this season. I'm your host, Michelle Toller. I'd like to thank Shari Dawson, the JHTA, and Royal Time Resorts. We'll be right back.